everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bilikis. It's so good to be back with another tutorial. Hope you're all doing so well. I am. Today's class will be on how to make a flared dress with a symmetrical hem along with a flared puffy sleeve. Isn't that beautiful? Yes. You could even have it sleeveless. I've already made a sketch of what we are going to be doing today, and I will be making use of this beautiful fabric. Yes. So before we get started, please follow me on Instagram, Bilikis Signatures, and on Facebook, Sewing Innovations. Check out my other channels, Pattern Drafting with Bilikis and Bilikis Kitchen. Please guys, make sure you are subscribed to all my channels, including this very one, Bilikis Signatures. Yeah. The promo on the sewing tools is on now. You can get yours by using the contact number in the description box below. Also, our monthly online classes. So with all that said and done, let's go to the work table. Now the sketch I have here, this is what it looks like. So it is a flared dress, as you can see. So the most important thing you need is your bust circumference and then the length of the dress. So this will be the actual length of the dress, and then we'll come up by the sides. So if you look at the sleeve, it is puffy but a flared sleeve. So we'll be making use of half circle method. Then you can decide to make it sleeveless. For those that want it to be sleeveless, I'm going to show you some tips to achieve a perfect armhole, also while drafting. So to make it easier, what I will do now is to just draft the upper part. This is the fabric we'll be making use of, is to draft the upper part. So the first thing you need to do is just make a straight line, then half of your armhole measurement. I'm making it for a medium sized person, so half of our armhole measurement is 7.5 inches, as you can see. Then you insert the 3 inches, 8 inches standard. Can you see that? After doing that, you come down by 1 inch from the 8 inches standard and connect from the 3 inches across the point. The next thing I'm going to do now is to insert the shoulder measurement. A shoulder measurement is 15, and half of that is 7.5. 7.5 will be here, so that's before the 8 inches. Like for me, it is 8.5, so that's going to be after the 8 inches. Come here and insert 7.5. Good. After doing that, the next thing is we just have to insert the bust measurement on this lower line, that's the chest line. So for her it is 38 inches. So when you divide that by 4, I'm going to have 9.5. But because this is a flared dress, you want it to be free all around the bust downward, I would advise you to add extra 1 inch to that. Because like for me, if I'm making this dress for my size, a medium size can still wear it, especially when you make use of a belt to give it some fittings. So like since it is 9.5 inches for the bust measurement, I'm just going to add extra 1 inch to make it 10.5. Then plus half each seam allowance, but you can make do with 1 inch seam allowance. That's one totals to 11 inches. So that's it. I'm just going to come down a bit to make that straight. The next thing is to fix the armhole. Just get the midpoint here. For the front, you go in by 3/4 inch. And then for the back. We are done with that. So the next thing will be the neckline, and for those that want it to be sleeveless, all you have to do is to come in by 3/4 inch, and from there is where you will connect all this armhole to it, because you don't want it falling off your shoulder. So for those that want it sleeveless, so back to the neckline. So for her, I'm just going to make use of a width of 3.5. It's going to have a loop at the back, 3.5 by 3.5. if I'm making for myself, I can make it 4.5 by 3.5. Sorry, yeah, 4 inches by 3.5 for myself. So, and then for the back, I can just make that 1 inch or 1.5 or 1.25. So we're good to go. So don't forget to add the 1/2 inch, same allowance at the shoulder. I'm just going to cut it out, cutting out the back armhole and back neckline. So now let's start cutting it out on the fabric. For total fabric of 2 yards, then I folded that into 2. As you can see, I folded into 2. Then if I'm making for myself, I would make use of 2.5 yards. Though I can make use of 2 yards or 2.25, just that it won't have as much flare as that of 2.5. For this medium size pressing tool, I'm making use of 2 yards. You can decide to make use of 1 yard depending on the fabric you have. Just that of 1 yard won't be as full as that of 2 yards. So I guess you understood that. The next thing now is to fold diagonally. So make sure the head is touching the side. Just fold diagonally. Now don't see it. I haven't folded that. I'm just going to place the cutout pattern on it. So before you pin it down, just take your measuring tape. Then you have to confirm the length of the dress. I want the length of the dress to be 40, that is the longest part. So let me just, since I've cut out the neckline, half of the armhole is 7.5. Place it on the 7.5 and check it out. So it is, here I have 38, so that means I have to move it upward because I want this other design to show more at the lower part, so that's why I want to utilize the lower part. 7.5. Perfect. So now I have 40 inches, so 40 inches plus seam allowance. Down the pattern on the fabric now that has been folded diagonally. So the next thing is to mark it out. So 7.5 here. This is 40. So that means you just rotate it like that. So for those that don't want it to be higher by the side, all you have to do is to just keep rotating it that way. Move it a bit. Mark 40. So I'm now going to place it here, just at where the neck will stop, and then rotate it to the other side. Here it is shorter, but no problem. So 40. So for those that just want it to be flared, all you have to do is to cut it that way. But because we are having a different design whereby the side comes up, so all you have to do now is this. Since we have marked the 40 here, whatever you have at this end, you have to deduct 10 inches for that, or except one drama, you could make it up to 12. How high it is by the side totally depends on your preference. So you just come to the side here and go up by 10 inches. After doing that, you now have to draw a straight line. From that point you went up by 10 inches. You could go higher, that depends on your preference. So a straight line to the middle. Having connected the straight line, the next thing is this. We are still going to make this low side a little bit curvier. Why? Because we don't want it to just be straight. You can decide to have it straight, but let's just make it a little bit curvier. You can either make use of your pattern master or your hip hop to just make it curvier till like the middle of the line. That's it here. So having done that, we can now connect from this edge straight to this point. That's from the chest line. Can you see how the lower part is so beautiful? Now I've done the. Can you see how the beautiful dress looks? I really love the lower part. You can see how that looks. Having done that, now we need to finish the front panel. So all I have to do is to remove the pin. All I have to do first is to finish off the front area. And then the armhole. Having done that, I have to remove one of this, which will be the back. So opening it up, this is what it looks like. You see that? And you see that, so lovely. So one has to be removed. Fold it back. I have to place it on it. And then trim this off at the neckline. I've trimmed that off. So this is what the front looks like. So the front is now different from the back. Can you see that? So for the back, we have to put the slits before we cut out the facing and the sleeve. So for the loop, I'm just going to make it for 4.5 is fine. So that will be the button loop, as you can see. Having done that, we cut the facing. I have placed, this is the front panel on the folded fabric, as you can see that. Make sure the folded parts align together. Next thing is to measure 3.5. That's the facing for the front. Then for the back, I've done the same thing. And don't forget there's a slit at the back, so you need to mark the same point on the folded fabric. I'm going to measure 3.5. So just mark that 3.5. Then come from the point of the slits, measure 3.5. back, and then the slit. So stop at that junction. So all the facing is ready. The next thing will be the sleeve. And all I did was to just fold diagonally. Can you see the selvage? So just fold diagonally this way, and that's all. After doing that, the next thing is this. You need the measurement of half of the armhole. Half of the armhole for her is 7.5 inches. So you could just make that, add extra 2 inches to the 7.5 to make it, that should be 9.5. To get your ruler, this has to be straight. So that is 9.5. So that is it. After doing that, you need to insert the cap's height. If you don't know all this, you can check out my video on how to make a basic sleeve, which I will put the link in the description box below. So the cap's height is 3 3/4, which is here. Now let us now insert half of the armhole plus the seam allowance to join it. So 7.5 plus 1, that will give you 8.5, which is here. Connect from the cap's height straight down here. Good. Get the midpoint. So this is 9, that's 4.5. So I'll go up by 1/2 inch, just here. So from that 1/2 inch, connect to the end. So just leave it at that. The next thing is the length of your sleeve. I want the length of the sleeve to be 15 inches with seam allowance. 15. Move it forward a bit. 15. Forward a bit. 15. Forward a bit. 15. And from that point, I'm just going to keep rotating it from that point. Here. So that is what we have. So from this point, we inserted the measurement, connect to the edge here. Connecting that, we can now extend the puff sleeve. So for the puff sleeve, I'm just going to make it 3 inches, which I think is enough. 3 inches. From that 3 inches, just connect it down here. Let me see what I did. I connected it to the 1/2 inch that we came up by, and then you pop it. That is all. So you'll be using this to cut other fabric, the other sleeve, sorry. So this is going to be the cuff, then it comes back to the initial point. Then we attach to the sleeve. Dress up. This is the sleeve I've cut out too. So what you are going to do for the sleeve before we start joining it up, I've notched the points whereby I came up by 1/2 inch. Just use your gathering stitch, that is the longest stitch on your sewing machine, and just sew from here. I've notched it on both parts and the other one. Just sew it here like 1/4 inch and stop here. So we are going to gather that part. So having done that, now let's go to the main dress. So what I'm going to do now is this. This is the facing attached to it, right side facing each other. Just sew in 1/2 inch all through. Not the shoulder, just the neckline. This is the back, as you can see. Can you see the slits? So go to the sewing machine, 1/2 inch this way, back up and end it here. After doing that, then we have to just join it by the shoulder. And before you attach it, don't forget to just go in by half an inch, just sew this, quarter of an inch, then quarter, or just use your overlocking machine and just fold it in and then sew it all around. I've sewn the facing, as you can see. I've hemmed the lower part and then I've joined it at the shoulder. So this is what it looks like. You see that? So I'm just going to put hook and eye here at the back, and then in the front, this is what I have. So beautiful. So the next thing now is for us to work on the sleeve and attach it to the dress. I've used the longest stitch on my sewing machine to sew it down from the point I notched to the other one. Then all you have to do is to just gather it up, and you see what I have here. So just gather it up. Then I will have to hem this lower part all around. After that, I will have to attach to the main dress. Can you see that? So right side has to face each other. So first you have to pin it down, making sure the sides match. So at that time you can now adjust it. Can you see that? So you make sure it matches at this edge too. Can you see that? You have to sew it all around. Make sure you hem the lower part. The sleeve, as you can see that I've attached the sleeve. So the next thing I'm going to do now on the wrong side is to sew up the sleeve. So I'm just going to sew it up on the wrong side, please. Just sew in half an inch, because that was what we left, half an inch, and then sew it to the edge, the higher side. After then you sew the other side. After doing that, the next thing will be to sew up the curves one by one. That will be, so you have one piece now, so you just sew it all around the curves. So let me do that and show you how it looks. Everything came out so well, right from the sleeve, the neckline, the asymmetric hem. It's just so perfect, and you should give it a try. And if this tutorial has been helpful, please give me a giant thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe. Make this dress for yourself and for your baby girl. I remain your girl, Bilikis. Bye.